How do you find what you'd love to do in life? Nicolas Cole, you learn a lot by paying attention to the little things. I'm not the entrepreneur that sits in a room, brainstorms a brilliant idea, and then sets out to build it. That's not how my creativity works, and I know that about myself. I'm creative in a different sort of way. Almost like method acting, I have to become the thing I'm curious about. In becoming it, I learn the rules of the game, the language, who my competition is, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and ultimately, what I have to do to succeed. When I was 17 years old, I became a hardcore gamer, and went on to become one of the highest-ranked World of Warcraft players in North America. When I was 18, I became a gaming blogger, and went on to have one of the first famous gaming blogs on the internet, back in 2007. When I was 19, I became a hip-hop producer, singer, and rapper, combining 15 years of classical piano lessons and my love for poetry and writing, to record over 100 original songs in my dorm room. My co-founder at Digital Press, Drew Reggie, and I also started a music production company in college called Homegrown Instrumentals. When I was 20, I became a creative writer. That was my major in college, and after my short story was selected to be published in the class anthology, I was one of 2 students chosen by the department to speak to incoming freshmen and their parents about the program. When I was 22, I became a bodybuilder, and transformed myself from an awkward, malnourished teenager with a curvature in my spine, to a 170 pounds fitness model with a best-selling ebook series called Skinny to Shredded, with copies sold in 30-plus countries around the world. When I was 24, I became an advertising copywriter, and went from being an intern to the lead writer at the agency I worked at in Chicago, writing copy for big-name brands. When I was 25, I became Nicolas Cole, and went on to build a powerful personal brand as a writer, accumulating 50+ million views on my work, and building a loyal audience of over 100,000 followers across Quora, Instagram, Medium, and my email list, without spending a single dollar on advertising. And when I was 26, I became an entrepreneur. I took the leap. I started Digital Press with one of my closest friends, and in less than a year we have grown to a 12+ full-time team, working with 30+ founders and CEOs all over the world. I share all of the above because if you look closely, each achievement was nothing more than the next logical step. Ever since I took the leap, I have had so many people reach out to me, both online, but almost more so in my personal life, asking how I did it. How can I take the leap and do what I love, too? The answer is really simple. You can take the leap the moment it feels like the next logical step. Even as a teenage gamer, I was determined to do something I loved for a living. I didn't even want to go to college, and I hated the idea of chasing a meaningless degree for a stable but unfulfilling job. I couldn't do it, and wouldn't tolerate it. As a result, I spent a lot of time looking for other ways to make money. Specifically, money earned from the things I was passionate about. As a gamer, I wrote gaming walkthrough guides for $50 a pop. As a bodybuilder, I wrote and sold ebooks, workout plans, etc. As a college student, I occasionally wrote blogs as a freelancer. I was actually one of Elite Daily's first writers, but my main source of revenue was selling music recording and mixing services out of my dorm room. As a copywriter, I wrote anything and everything: social media posts, recipe books, banner ads, billboard slogans, sales pages, etc. As Nicolas Cole, I never wanted to compromise my own writing for the sake of $1, or monetize by plastering ads all over my site, so I became a ghostwriter on the side for CEOs instead. As an entrepreneur, then, I asked myself the same question: what's the next logical step? Right before I started Digital Press, I was helping 8 different CEOs with their writing. It got to a point where I was working so much, I didn't even have time for my own writing, which was problematic. I didn't sit down one day and say, I want to start a company. Let me come up with a brilliant idea for a company. The idea for Digital Press came from something I was already experiencing. I had stepped into the world of content writing exclusively for founders and CEOs. I had a process that worked. I had a unique approach, a style I knew people liked and were willing to pay for. I knew what they were willing to pay for it. And I knew all the reasons why other writers failed, and why they enjoyed working with me. All of those things I just listed are what most entrepreneurs learn on the fly. They come up with an idea for a business, and then spend the first year finding answers to all of those questions. In many ways, we still learned new things too, but there's a reason why digital press has grown so quickly. We already knew exactly what to build, because what we were building was a replica of my own individual process. It wasn't really a new idea at all. It was literally just us breaking apart what I was already doing into various roles, clarifying responsibilities, and then scaling. I encourage every entrepreneur to think this way. There's no one right way to build a company. There's also no need to build a company in order to do what you love, and in many cases, you're better off flying solo and running a one-person shop. But regardless of what road you take, the fundamental approach should be the same. It's no different than testing before you launch. The more you can test and gather data before you put yourself out there, the more likely you will be to succeed once you do, because you've already found answers to the tough questions. If you look back over my entire journey, then I've been testing for a decade. I was learning what kind of writing people wanted back when I was a gaming blogger. I was learning how language could bend and move and rhyme and carry multiple meanings as a songwriter. I was learning what kind of ebooks would sell as a bodybuilder. I was learning how to write effective sales copy as a copywriter. I was learning what the secret was to writing online that would make it go viral. Learning, refining, listening to people's feedback or lack thereof, tweaking, trying again. I was learning how to provide CEOs and founders with something immensely valuable, in a way that protected their time. So when it finally came time to take the leap, and even to start a company, the truth is it didn't seem like that big of a leap at all. It was daunting, don't get me wrong. It felt like the next logical step. If you want to build a business around what you love, that's how you have to think about it. Take the time to master your craft. Don't rush out and start hiring people. Cool your jets on the flashy website and the PR campaign. Just follow your curiosity for a while. Let yourself roam and explore, but do so purposefully, and with the intention of learning. Learn what people are looking for. Learn what people will pay for. Learn where others have gone wrong before you. Learn to develop your own unique style. Learn, learn, learn. I promise you, if you follow that path, it will only lead to two things: success, fulfillment. Look at my own journey. I've been a World of Warcraft nerd, a rap-obsessed producer, a gym rat, a ghostwriter, and finally, probably not finally, an entrepreneur. But through all those things, I stayed true to whatever I was in love with at the time. And I constantly asked myself, how can I turn this into a business? How can I eat off of this? By the time digital press came around, it was nothing more than the next logical step. It was an overnight success, 10 years in the making.